I didn't think it was logical because with the military we had and the defense forces, let me take a step back. In the beginning, it made some sense. I'm talking about before I ever went to Vietnam and stuff. Sometimes theories sound great till you actually get involved in it. And with the distance from the US, and then you go to Hawaii, Wake Island, Japan, Vietnam, that's a horrendous distance. And they didn't have weapons that could reach the US.
Mhm.
I mean, it didn't, it wasn't common sense that that could happen. Uh, if things started to act up like that, we would have had the weapons and the people to go at the Asian side at that point, not to get in the middle of a stupid war. That was the same time that Private Papadopoulos got injured. Uh, we had trying to describe this. If you could, did you see in the video how I tried to lay out what the firing range looked like? Big berms of dirt, probably 15 feet high, that had been plowed there, and it looked like, well, if you can imagine a zipper and enlarged it 100,000 times, you've got big mounds of dirt like this, three on each side, four on each side. Then you've got a big mound in the center, and these are on each side. All of a sudden, as we were starting to put our stuff away and load back into the big deuce and a half truck, the automatic fire broke out, and we heard screaming and yelling, and it wasn't the type of fire you would have during training. And we were out in kind of the boonies with just a lot of forest and brush around us. It wasn't on any kind of base. And a couple of the troops that were really energetic guys said, "Sir, let's go see. We better go see what's going on." But at that point, all of our ammo was almost gone. Uh, I think they had maybe one clip each left, the two that said something, but never thought of myself as a real big military mind. But I knew that if they went up over a big hill and you've got somebody down below, they're going to see you before you can see them. If you imagine your head coming up, to be able to see, your head's got to come over, and they're going to be able to see you.
Mhm.
And the fact that we were just about out of ammunition, and by then the screaming had stopped. It only lasted 10, 15 seconds. And that was when I found later they'd all been killed. And that was again the hard part. Viet Cong soldiers joining the South Vietnamese army, and everybody thinking they're the good guys. First, while you were over there, you could set up your monthly pay, whatever it was, so much of it to go home and so much of it in cash that you would get. And I would set up different they had I didn't actually go out in the field to pay the troops, but the officers that did, I got them the money. And we'd
Mhm.
have a sheet that we would know who is getting how much, and we'd put it into little packets. And they would take it out into the field to give them, well, I'm going to cash. It had to be military payment certificates because when you came into Vietnam, you had to go to a finance office. And later on, I was in charge of one of those where you take out all your US green paper money and you get these military payment certificates. Because US green in Vietnam was used a lot on the black market. It was worth a lot to the Vietnamese. So anyway, I would give the officers, they would take them out into the field. Unfortunately, one of the officers in a helicopter ride got shot down. Uh, the I also part of the time as officers were coming into the country or leaving not officers, everybody coming in, they would come to us and change their US green to MPC or turn in their MPC to get US green because they were leaving. When you mentioned the troopers that were killed, I would get a special report. Uh, it came was hand carried by somebody. When somebody was killed and they knew it happened, things actually moved pretty quickly. And I would get a notice, and I would be able to get to the records. They were all paper records at that time. I and take care of setting up from the date the person was killed to update the records and send them on. Uh, the hardest one, excuse me, was one time a, a soldier was killed and his wife was on her way to Hawaii to meet him for R&R. And she was flying when he got killed. And I found that out and I don't remember exactly what I did, but I started the step to get somebody to meet her at the plane in Hawaii that came in because my wife flew there. I met her there too. I mean, it was just uh, one of the jobs where I was at what they called Camp Alpha, where people coming in and out of all the troops coming in and out of the country, could be Army, Air Force, whatever. Uh, and we would change the money back and forth. I usually ended up with anywhere from 2 to 300,000 in U.S. green paper money, and we weren't supposed to store that much. So there was a main vault. I don't know, it was about 15 miles away across Saigon. I would call the military police to get an escort because we would use we'd go in a big bus that used to transport troops. It was just like a school bus with chain link over the windows. And most of the time, the MP said they didn't have anybody available. The orders were go anyway, because by using the phone system, a lot of the people running the phone system were Vietnamese, and you didn't know if they were friend or foe, and that they might leak the information. Like if somebody gets an advanced thing on an armored car delivery. So anyway, we would just load up and I'd take three or four of the troops. We'd be armed. I'd have one sitting up front watching the driver with a weapon, and we'd scatter ourselves on the bus so we weren't all together. And never really had a problem. One time as we were coming to an intersection, there had been a little accident between a couple cars or these things, the scooters, and one of the people that apparently on one of the vehicles, it wasn't police, was trying to get us to stop, and I ordered the driver to push through, and he kind of brushed one of the vehicles aside because I didn't know if it was a trap to get us to stop. So we just kept going. Uh, no, just to Hawaii, and it was for I think basically 7 days. Got a hotel room, was a couple blocks off the beach. It what was like my wife had talked about meeting or going to see the uh, memorial for the Pearl Harbor stuff,
Hmm.
but I didn't want any go to any place to have anything to do with the military.
Yeah.
Just wanted to stay away from it and stuff. But the people in Hawaii, when we went out to eat any place, they were always super friendly, very, very nice stuff. So it was just a nice week that went by too quickly. But it was I don't remember how many hours it was to get from Vietnam to Hawaii. I want to say 12, 14. Did get to land on Wake Island, which like from World War II.
Hmm.